welcome back to the show. It's Hazel here, helping you to move and shift your life from where you're at right now to where you'd love to be in the safest and most effective way possible. So today's subject, slow and steady wins the race. We've all heard the story of the tortoise and the hare, right? You know, the one where the tortoise and the hare set off at the same time and they've got a race to run, and the hare is all, full of it, saying, I'm going to beat you, I'm much faster than you, to the tortoise, and off he leaps, into the sunset, thinking that, I'm going to win this easy. This tortoise takes such a long time. But the thing is, halfway along, the hare gets a bit cocky and thinks, I'm so far ahead of the tortoise, I'm just going to sit back here and relax on this lovely green patch of grass, just going to take a time out, take a quick snooze, and I'm still going to win this race. And then along comes the tortoise, gently plodding, gently making his way over to the end of the race line, taking his time, obviously, because he's much slower than the hare. And it takes him time. And he kind of, trundles along, sees that the hare is taking a nap and thinking, okay, all right, well, I can't afford to do that. I've got to keep going. So I'm just going to keep my nose down. I'm going to keep trundling along and heading towards that finish line. And off he goes. And then all of a sudden, I don't know, however long later, half an hour later or whatever it is, the tortoise is approaching the finish line. The hare wakes up and thinks to himself, where's the tortoise? How long have I been asleep? Oh my goodness, what am I doing? And has to sprint his way to the end of the race, only to see the hare crossing the finish line ahead of him. So much you can take from that story. So much you can take. But you understand the principle. If you're going to try and rush something, or you think you're a bit cocky and, oh yeah, I can do this, I don't even have to try. And you just, you take it for granted that you're going to win, then you're just not. And so I apply this analogy to get rich quick schemes. And we know the type of schemes these are. These are either ideas which people are going to say, a project's going to go to the moon. We hear it all the time in more recent years in cryptocurrency space. We hear about decentralized projects, finance projects, where a company starts off, a token gets produced, and the hype around it is that it's going to go to the moon, we're going to make loads of money, etc., etc. And people pile in and think, oh great, yeah, I can make some money quickly, etc. And it just crashes and burns. Maybe the first few people who get in, who then hype it for other people to rush in, they're the ones who win, because then they sell out and it goes to nothing. But essentially most people lose. Or it's a project which is, let's face it, a scam. There are plenty of them. Pyramid schemes, or what are they called? Ponzi schemes, yeah? Ponzi schemes. People put money into these types of schemes thinking that they're going to get rich quick, that they can get one up on other people. Or maybe they've gone in with the best of intentions and they hadn't known that it's just a scam, essentially. And unfortunately, those types of things always fail. People always lose money. A scheme whereby people have to keep putting money in order for other people to keep winning or earning is unsustainable. It is just never, ever going to work, because at some point it's going to reach critical mass and it's going to reach breaking point, and there are going to be too many people who are coming in who are all of a sudden realizing that this is an unsustainable model, and the whole thing collapses. Maybe some people, again, at the top who set it up or who got in the early days are the ones who are going to actually make any money out of it. But it is unsustainable, and it is actually detrimental to your own wealth and well-being, and to the wealth and well-being of other people. And so inevitably these things go pop. And it's interesting because in the early days of our wealth creation career, the times when we were thinking, we really want to get, we want to be rich, we want to have a different kind of lifestyle than the one we we're used to. And we got involved in one or two things which, without the power of hindsight and without experienced heads on, just were kind of destined to fail, really. We didn't know how to research. We didn't know what due diligence was. And in those days, we're talking back in the 1990s, it was much harder to do research on people and organisations than it is now. And so therefore, we got involved in one or two things that it just, it didn't work out. One particular one I remember working really, really hard on, and it was a network marketing business. And I really believed in the products and I believed in the idea and worked really, really hard and was in it for about a year and a half and was kind of breaking even. And then unfortunately, the company was not, didn't sustain. I think there was some trouble at the top, or et cetera, and it just ended up kind of collapsing, as it were. And so all my efforts felt at the time like they'd gone to waste. However, I did learn a lot from that experience. I learnt about how to build a team. I learnt about how to coach people. I actually did some public speaking, back then, in terms of actually, training people on what was going on. And I did make a little bit of money out of it. So, and actually it was a health drink. So I did actually feel benefits from this health drink. So, it was a lesson learned. However, it was something which I thought was going to bring in money quite quickly, something I could do in my spare time and would be sustainable. And it ended up, unfortunately, not being. And so often something which seems like a great idea or something that's going to go to the moon or that you can get really wealthy, rich very quickly, just never really works. It just doesn't. So it taught me and us, my husband and I, a big lesson. It taught us that slow and steady wins the race, is to choose something which we truly believed in. We could truly see that there was this pattern and real knowledge that activity was going to work in terms of building wealth for us. Hey, thanks so much for listening into the show. I have a quick question for you. Are you feeling stuck in the grind, even though you're doing everything right? If you're in your 40s working hard in a successful career, but are wondering when you'll finally get to live life on your terms, you're not alone. After 15 years of coaching high-performing professionals, I'm opening up a few one-to-one coaching spots again for those ready to take back control. This isn't fluffy life coaching. It's practical, no BS conversations to help you escape burnout, build real momentum, and start moving towards freedom. If that's you, I'm offering a free 30-minute clarity session to see if we're the right fit. No pressure, just real talk and real strategy. Head to the link below to book your free session. Spots are limited, so grab one while they're open. Listen, you've waited long enough. This might just be the step that changes everything. Because I think I've mentioned it before that when we got involved in property, after a couple of years, there were a few other things that we added into the mix. So at the time, I was a musician and music teacher. We'd bought a couple of properties, and so we were running those properties. We were also interested in the stock market. I had a network marketing business going, and then I added another network marketing business. And I was running a small chamber music group and doing business with that. And it was just like ridiculously busy. I was plate spinning all over the place. You can imagine it, like trying to keep everything going and whilst sustaining my career, whilst building these other things up. And it just was ridiculous. I was basically chasing too many rabbits, trying to do too many things and not actually getting anywhere, because even if you chase only 2 rabbits, you're not going to catch even one. So far better to chase 1 rabbit. Okay, for the animal lovers out there, I'm an animal lover too. It's just an analogy, right? Okay. You chase 1 rabbit and you're much more likely to actually catch it as opposed to chasing 2, 3, 4, or 5. This is the idea that I'm trying to get through here, is to spend your time and energy and focus on one thing that you know has the potential to be something that can create wealth for you, that can be sustainable in the long term, and that you can do slowly but surely over the years, over the course of time. There is no quick solution to becoming wealthy. Once I decided to kind of sort the wheat from the chaff and let go of several of those things, obviously I kept my career as a musician and music teacher at the time. And then we carried on with our property portfolio, gave ourselves a good talking to and said, right, this is what we're going to focus on. This is what we're going to pay attention to and what we're going to build. And we're going to concentrate on cash flow, on generating cash flow from that property business. And so that's exactly what we did. And once we'd focused our energies and done the right research into the right areas, the right strategy, got the right help and advice, that's when things started to change. And by 2007, I was then mentoring other people on how to do this, because it was what I was paying attention to, is what I was concentrating on. And so this had taken us quite a lot of time to set up, to start to build, to learn, to educate ourselves. And over the course of time, slowly but surely, that property business built. And we didn't get everything 100% right. You know, some things we didn't go so well, but we learned from them. Every single one of the projects that didn't work out so well was just another stepping stone to doing it even better the next time. And so we carried on building. But it was just over a decade, really, before we'd created substantial and real sustainable wealth in our business, a decent level of capital, and a good cash flow that was enabling us to actually live from that profit. So when I say that's very rare or not really any quick solution to becoming wealthy, it's just absolutely true. There are very, very rare individuals who seem to have the Midas touch, who know an awful lot about their subject, can see an opportunity and take calculated risks, and they pay off. But the thing is, they've more than likely learned their trade, learned their skills from the school of hard knocks. They will have spent a decade or two honing and refining those skills. It hasn't come quickly or easily to them. They've been putting the hard yards in behind the scenes to get to the point where things start to turn to gold, where they understand a proposition or an opportunity, or a company that they could invest in, which they could then start to see take off and skyrocket. And they'll become maybe an angel investor or joint venture partner in a project. But it really doesn't happen very often that they just know this innately and can make money overnight, until they've got to that point where it just starts to take off. And it's the same for us, having built our property business and now being involved in cryptocurrencies, let's say, and a few other projects. Now we understand what we're doing. Now we know how to research and do our due diligence. Now we know and understand that it can take time and patience, learning, knowing what you're doing, and being strategic with what you're doing in order to create wealth and to build up a cash flow in a particular project that you're involved with. There's a saying that lottery winners, people who get a lot of money all of a sudden, very quickly end up losing it all within just a couple of short years. Now, why is that? Well, the fact of the matter is, it's come very quickly. They don't have the mindset or the tools to know how to handle a large amount of money. And it literally goes through their hands like water. All the people come out of the woodwork wanting a piece of the action. They end up spending a lot of money on cars or houses or holidays or expensive items, etc. And they've got nothing left to show for it. But not only that, it's just easy come, easy go. They don't actually buy anything that can then produce an income for them on an ongoing basis. I think these days there are some people who are coached maybe, or who have financial advisors who help them to negotiate their way through having the wealth. But a lot of people choose not to have that. And then they just end up frittering it all away. And so this is a little bit like the hare losing the race, right? They just become complacent and they just sit by the wayside and go, yeah, it's fine, it'll all be fine. But end of the day, off it goes. So my advice to you is it's highly advisable, if you have a tendency to do so, to stop chasing shiny objects and different courses and different ways of making money in all different opportunities and all different directions, because you're going to lose focus. You're going to be chasing lots of different rabbits and you're not going to catch any. My advice to you is to focus on one thing which you know you can be good at, you'll enjoy, something that the world needs, and where you can add value and get paid well for it. Whatever that might be is worth spending your time and attention on, rather than chasing the shiny pennies. And I think you'll probably know what I'm talking about. Of course, there are plenty of opportunities to choose from these days, but the key is to choose well. Be focused, learn your craft, become great at it, whether this is a property business, whether this is stock trading or internet marketing or setting up your own business, becoming an investor in other markets, whatever it is. Choose well and get really good at it and build on a sustainable way. Rome wasn't built in a day. It took planning. It took great execution. It took understanding and knowing how to build that city, and any city or any project that has ever been built in this world. And it took baby steps to do it. And when you have a vision, when you have foresight, when you understand that it takes those baby steps, it's amazing how quickly it can start to help you work towards your goals and your dreams. And by being tenacious and keeping that vision and that focus, taking the appropriate actions, becoming knowledgeable, becoming good at what you do, honing your craft, etc., plodding away at it, plodding away like the tortoise, this is what is going to help you win the race. Not setting out all guns blazing, thinking this is what I'm going to do, and then either getting distracted off course, or worse still, stopping and thinking, oh, I don't need to do it right now. Oh, I've got plenty of time, like the hare. Just keep plodding. Keep the eye on the prize. Keep your eye on the goal. Enjoy the journey as you're going along. And be the tortoise, not the hare. I'll see you next time.